What is going on, guys? Happy Friday. You already know what it is. It's an episode of Millennial with Billy and Mel. What is going on, guys? Hopefully, you're having a really, really good Friday so far. It's a little dreary outside, but it's Friday nonetheless, right? And we're halfway through the year. So, hey, we're here. And what we're going to be talking about today is something that me and Mel have been doing a lot of in the last couple of weeks. There's not intentional growth, right? That's stuff that happens to you that you weren't expecting.
Unintentional.
Unintentional growth.
And
But what we're going to be talking about today is intentional growth, right? And we're just going to be talking a little bit about what's going on, just some of the things that we're doing, and just share with you some of the things that we have done to intentionally grow ourselves in the last couple of weeks. But before we get into all that, Mel, what's going on? How are you?
hi, I'm so excited because there has been a lot of things that have a lot of growth going on. I think for both of us, obviously, we've been pretty busy, so I'm excited to talk about it, and I think set some time to get back into the groove of things. But yeah, I've been actually. It's so funny when I say busy. I mean, I'm actually the least busy I've ever been in my entire life because I have gotten out of a lot of things. So, but in what I am doing, it has been great. So I'm excited.
That's really interesting, and I think that's a good way to just kind of just start this thing off. It's like because like I thought I was doing a lot, right? But Mel, if you know Mel, she does a lot. She's involved in everything, anything and everything that she could get involved with. And it's really crazy, like just watching you over these last couple of weeks and months and stuff like that. You've actually grown by subtraction,
Yeah,
right? Right.
by moving things in my life and simplifying, I have grown, and it has created more space for really great stuff. I mean, we've talked about, you're not able to add anything new without subtracting, but what I've added are the things for myself that I wasn't doing for myself. I was doing for everybody else.
Yeah. No, I mean that's definitely, you know, where I'm headed. I've definitely taken some stuff off my plate, and I'm getting to the point, especially business wise, where I'm. We've been talking about it. I've been talking with people in my business that you can't really grow until you like bring on somebody to your team to handle all the administrative stuff. So it's getting to that point where I'm gonna have to do that. Hey Amber, how are you doing? Thanks for jumping on. We're talking about intentional growth today. So if you doing some things to intentionally grow, like what are some of those things that you're doing, right?
Yeah.
While we have a chat here. But yeah, that's I mean, so for me, like what does intentional growth mean for you?
I think, we've talked a little bit. A lot of the things that I'm like reading and doing is trying to become the best version of myself. And I think every day, we can do little things with the word for the year I chose was consistency, but I wasn't really doing that. But I think it is about making the best choices um, for like bettering things, and it's like making tiny little decisions that add up to great habits and things that and it takes time. I think it's this has been years in the making for me to make some of these major like life changes. I mean, I like made major life changes, and I think it's just making those, having the courage or the bravery or the determination or the motivation, like all of those things kind of combined into one um, to be, yeah, to be better. Better is always better, right?
Yeah, even if it's 1% better, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I mean, I like example, I mean, I was working 80, 90 hours a week. Like you said, everyone that knows me knows I was involved in so many things. With my business, you know, you have 100 people that are your clients that, you know, you have to be on for, and they think you're on call, and they think they're your only customer. And it just became exhausting. And it was, um, you know, I just was getting burnt out. And when I started with Downtown Hershey Association, it's a part-time job at an executive director. I don't think we've really gotten to talk too much about it, but I love it. It gets me out behind the computer. I don't want to sit behind the computer. It's just years of thought process of what do I want to do? Is there something else out there for me? I did the Leadership Harrisburg course that opened up my eyes to executive directors for nonprofits. Like, I love the idea of fundraising in the community and giving back and bringing people together and events. And I just didn't know I didn't know it existed, like this job. And it's like perfect for everything that I do. And I wouldn't have seen it if I hadn't made those little steps. And it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So I think that, and then going back to like cutting out, this is my last year with several nonprofits, whether I was doing the design work and the sponsor of just the branding, or whether I was on the committee and I was just like, you know, like helping plan and being a part of the team. And I just said, I'm done. I did a full swoop of 4 different events. And I said, this is my last year. It was becoming thankless. I was not appreciated, and I wasn't really, my time wasn't respected. And, you know, personally, I had some things in relationships in my life that I had to set boundaries. And when you start setting boundaries, people that don't want you to have boundaries, the true colors come out. And it was with a lot of different aspects, professionally and personally. And it was hard, but it was necessary. And I feel very free. Like, there's a free feeling, you know, of saying, you know, I did my service. I did, you know, it's not healthy for me anymore. And I want to create the space. So, I mean, I'm kind of working like 40 hours a week, you know, like a normal job.
You freed up a
And
whole week, basically.
I did. I mean, I was working, you know, 12, 15, 18-hour days. I was working weekends. And it was work, but it was volunteering. It was stuff that wasn't making me money, you know, and it was more harm than good. And, and I just decided it's not conducive for, I would love, you know, I want to be in a relationship, like, you know, maybe have a family. Like, I mean, it's just not conducive. And I wasn't getting able to I wasn't being able to do the things that I didn't have time to go to the gym. I didn't have time. No, I have to make the time, but what do you take
That's
away?
true.
I was sacrificing my own interests of doing things because there just wasn't enough time in the day, you know? And I go to the gym. You know, I try to go every day, but I get up at 5:30. I try to go to bed a lot earlier. I had like 2 dinners this week for meetings, but get up 5:30, go to the gym. I'm learning to golf. This is my second golf lesson this week. I took one last week.
Oh,
Um,
Megan got some clubs, by the way. We'll have to go all play
Good.
golf
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, I read a lot more. This was the book that I got from the conference that I told you. And I
Oh,
just
yeah.
started, because I was trying to finish reading a couple other ones. And, talking about intentional growth, I'm like reading it. I'm like, oh my God, this is happening to me right now. This is like perfect timing to hear all of these sentiments. So yeah, I mean, overall, um, I can't imagine. I mean, I was working 1, 2 a.m. every night. You know, I was probably getting up at 7:30. I mean, if I was up late, I didn't have to be as 8. Um, and to think like, I'm like, people are shocked. They're like, I was such a night owl, and now I'm getting up in the morning, and I want to get up. I'm not stressed about things, as like my stress level has reduced, you know, I think my alarm goes off, or sometimes I wake up even like 4:30 sometimes, or 5, like if I go to bed really early. and I just can't go back to sleep. But like, I want to get up. Like, I was like hitting snooze, snooze, snooze before. I was like dreading some of the things that I had to do, stressed, and and just being like, now I'm like, I just want to get out. My alarm goes up. I'm like, I'm ready. Here we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. No,
You
I
know? So,
love all that, cuz like it's like for me like everything I do now, like what I've been trying to look through the lens of is like what purpose am I doing this thing for?
right.
Right? Like, and I don't want to think about like that all the time. Obviously, you want spontaneity and
Right.
stuff like that in your life, but as far as it comes to like business related stuff and just like it was crazy like how you're just talking about, like relationships that you've maybe not like officially like ended, but you just kind of you've kind of backed away from those things. And I was thinking about like, like all the people that I hang around now is like a select group of people. And I can trace back because I really started hanging out with these group of people and being intentional of who I'm hanging around with and stuff like that. I can really trace back the last 3 months of my success to changing the sphere of people I was around.
Yes.
Like the people that I'm around now, right, are like and this is like it's I used to think of like this as being like scary and like, I don't want to be embarrassed because I'm not performing the way these people are. But like now I look at it a different aspect. Like I'm like I see these people and how they're competing and how successful they are in their business. Like, man, I want to be like them.
Right.
Well, if I want to be like them, I need to hang around them, right?
Right.
And like so, there's an old saying like you don't want to be the smartest person in the room, right? Like or like the most successful person in the room because you always want to be in a room where you have to like push yourself, right? Because I was in a room by myself where I wasn't competing with anybody, where I wasn't like, had that camaraderie and stuff like that, or and I say competing like healthy competition, right?
Right.
Not like, hey, like I hate you, I'm gonna put you out of business competition. It's
I know,
like
like pushing, or like pushing and challenging.
yeah.
Yeah.
So and so that like just being, and like when I read now, like I used to just read books about like motivation and stuff like that just to check the box, right? Hey, like I read my 10 pages today, right? And I know a lot of people do like that, is it 75 hard or whatever it is and stuff like that. And and that's great and stuff. And I know one of the things is reading a book, but like for me, it was just checking off the box, like, oh, I got to check this off the box. But like being intentional about what I read now and being like, all right, how am I going to apply this to my life? Like, what I learned this lesson, how can I apply it? Right. And being more intentional about the
Right.
things that I'm doing, rather than just letting life happen.
Right. Well, and I think too, we talked a while ago, and you've said things about being you're the average of the five people that you not average, but or something about the five people
Yeah.
that you surround yourself. And we talked.
Yep.
You said about building your circle, your board of directors. Okay, and
Yep.
it's funny because we talked about stuff last year or 6 months ago or 3 months, and it's like um, it takes time. Like, I think that we talked about it, we understood it. We were like, yeah, that makes sense. But were we doing it? I don't know. I mean, I know we were doing it, but I think when you say about the
I
people
think
that you surround yourself with now, I thought that those people were, for a certain reason, and I know why with like women or business owners are saying, hey, wow, I really want to be, be closer with women that are business owners. Well, like, what if they're not a good business owner?
or a good fit for you or your
Or a good,
personality, right?
yeah, I mean, a good, positive and um yeah. And so that's the thing is, okay, there's more to it than just saying, oh, this person's a business owner and that I want to be around them or they're
Yeah.
successful. Well, it doesn't mean they're they're that right person,
Yeah.
or
Of
they're
course.
they should be that one of five, or you know what I mean? Like, because honestly, that could negate the other ones that are fantastic, or
Of
because
course.
they're not, it doesn't, it's not healthy or something.
Yeah.
Um, and I started seeing that. I started making those. Again, it's not an overnight process. It takes weeks, it takes months, I mean, it's choosing, nope, I don't want to go out to the bars and be drunk till 2 o'clock in the morning every weekend. And nope, I don't want to, and saying no or just making changes. But it allowed reconnections of people that were in my life that I wasn't um spending as much time or focus or like um yeah, I don't, I have people that are like definitely a lot more motivating. Like you get, a text like, hey, have a great, are you at the gym? Like it's 6 o'clock. Like, are you there yet? And like, oh, I'm here, or it's like, oh, I'm on my way, like accountability buddies that we talked about. And
Mhm. Mhm.
um it's interesting because I can, I have conversations like that are major decisions, like almost like with my counselor, but I'm having them with other people. And that's what I want. Like I want authenticity, I want transparency, I want to have those deep conversations with people and connections and have them, be able to be on that level where we can have those conversations. And I wasn't there before. I was like not at the potential. It's like when there's the potential using, you know
Mhm.
what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, no. Um, you were talking about it. You made the comment like, hey, we knew what we were supposed to do. Like we knew these things were no, we're supposed to do these things, right? And I think, one of the and I one of my business mentors, he told me this, like especially when it comes to the business that I'm in, that the business and life becomes a lot easier when you stop thinking about it and it goes to your heart. So like instead of like, hey, I know how to do this, I know I should be doing this, but the real change happens down here because you already know. We all know what we need to do, right? We all there's the when you watch enough motivational videos and read enough books, they're all the same, right? They're generally all the same type of concepts, but once it moves from your head to your heart,
Right.
it changes you, right? And I think that's the transformation that just happened in us, is that it went from here to here, right? And now we're really living what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because yeah, I mean it's like I think we put the talk into action, but I think it's all about timing because I think that there were things that we were like, yeah, we should do this or we got to do this or h- making a roadmap and a plan to get where we want to be, but we really didn't know. We don't know what exists. Like we don't
Yeah.
know that it's there. Like I was like, I would never imagine that I would make these. I mean, when I said to my parents, I'm not, this is my last year with the Derby Day event that I was with for, 7, 10 years. And the last couple years, I mean, everyone knew how much time and effort and energy and heart that I put into that. And for me to say, this is my last year, I mean, I had people like, whoa, what? I mean, like for real? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, and it's it's interesting because I had similar feelings on certain things in my life like a year ago and I just did it again, and I just was like not making those changes or those decisions. And I think yeah, I mean I just think too it's we were talking about it, but I think when you look at that idea of that intentional growth, we wanted it, we knew we needed it. um
But we were doing the building like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Those are the building blocks. Like
We had
we
to like train our brain, retrain our brain, train
we
our
were
brain
aware.
until one day I feel like I just woke up and was like, and then I took the action that was the talk of what we were talking. And I think it just took, it's like that repetition, that's why the Cardone and all the things that you do, the books that we read and the mind, people that do masterminds and people that, watch those videos, it's repetition. But like, that's the sad thing. I was like, I just wish I had made these decisions. I just wish I did this so much sooner, like made some of these decisions to, um, yeah, like take back my time and my, I don't know. But I wouldn't have gotten here um, I wouldn't have gotten here if I know that I had to go through all those things, you know what I mean? And I know that has led me here. But it's also, I just have so much more clarity. Like I have more, I'm very much like with respecting myself and my time and following through on that. And with people, um, I don't waste my time 30 seconds with someone that I know is not gonna be, very um like conversation, like a growth conversation, or like, that I would want to spend my time. But there's been some really fantastic people that have come into my life that I really appreciate. And I think had I not cleared space and time and energy, and I might not have seen them or had time, or like, you know what I mean, or like made the time, because I just didn't have it. But now that I do, I can be more purposeful with who I'm spending it with, like what you said.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what it comes down to. It's just being intentional, purposeful of what we're doing instead of just frivolously throwing our time. I think we're both at a point in our business where we have good connections, where enough people know us. We're never going to stop, but it's we're at a point where we can't we the best way to say it is like we just don't deal with the bullshit anymore,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah, no,
like
yes,
if you want to like what like the relationship's got to serve both people, right? It can't just be one sided. And I mean, some relationships, like for a moment, could be one sided, right? If like you needed something and you just needed a vent, right? And I'm just there to listen. That's a one sided conversation, but it's not always going to be like that. But I know you personally, had that going on for a long time, right?
right,
And I know it was draining for you because we talked about it, right, off camera and stuff like
right,
that. And but being able to like recognize that,
right,
like, was like, I don't want people to think like, hey, you like, even if like, because not every book, not everything that you're going to pick up is going to instantly change your life, right? Like we're talking about, it might be weeks, it might be months, it might be years, right, of you
here
constantly doing that.
this has taken me years. I mean, it is absolutely
Well, it
years.
took you years to get to where you were, right? It wasn't like people like, when you're like, if you're, overweight or something like that, like people are like, oh, and like, what happens? Like, well, that took you years to get there, right? It's going to take you a couple, it's going to take you a while to get better, right? And so,
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, it was, what I said was I spent 10 to 12 years of my life, into my 20s, into my 30s, um, not saying no, doing for so many other people, over committing, distracting myself, or being busy, or all this stuff. It was a 10 to 12 year bad habit. And it wasn't an overnight thing to change that habit or break that habit. It was months after months, and year. I mean, it's been probably 3 years that I've, it'd been like, it's okay to let go of the way that I thought my business was going to be. 5 years it's been, um, because it's like all, or it's the way, and it's hard to make those changes. But um, yeah, but I mean, I knew that I wanted to be bad. I know that I keep wanting to grow, and that there's, like, all this, there's something else besides my bit. I just had to start exploring, and like, eventually putting pieces together, and yeah, taking things away. But I mean, it's just like every day, um, there's good change, like good change. Um, but yeah, it's interesting because it's taken a long time.
yeah. But I mean, we're here, right? And that's all that matters at the end of the day. It's not where you start, it's where you finish. And so, for me, like I just think about it every day, like, hey, I'm thankful for the change, right? I'm
Right.
actually thankful for the people that I ran into that weren't good for me because it showed me the people that weren't good for me, right?
Say
Or
thank
didn't
you
fit.
for yep, thank you for showing well, I also say thank you for showing your true colors because I kind
True.
of knew it, but you let somebody else show you who they are, like, obviously believe them when they show you who they as they say, when someone shows you who they are, believe them,
Yeah.
but, when you said about going and being at, like, an equal, that's where I'm at is you can't just give and give and give and then and people like there's just so many takers and they're just looking to gain from you. And I think that um there's it doesn't have to be the equally reciprocal for what you do for somebody, but you have to feel inside that you are receiving what you're putting out. Sometimes maybe it's not, and again, it doesn't have to be equal. And I like to do things just to do things, like I don't need anything in return.
Yep.
But when
Yep.
it's things that it's like sucking your energy and you're stressed and you're that, like, that's not healthy. And I think that it's more of like go with your gut, because it's hard to walk away from something or end a relationship or quit a job, but it's not as hard as dealing with it for the rest of your life. Like it's really scary and hard for that initial, like with divorce. Like I is telling somebody, it's really hard to have that first conversation like I'm not happy or
Yeah.
I'm not fulfilled or this isn't working. And a breakup, it takes a lot of courage and it takes a lot of bravery to do it. But that weight is then gone and you can say, but it's because you're choosing we're like we talked about this, like life is just way too short.
Yep.
And I think the other thing of like intentional growth is like, is this um suited is this like making me happy? Am I happy? Am I fulfilled? Am I content? um and if not, like, leave or change, or it's hard, but um I think it's just about, yeah, every day, like, becoming the better version of who we are.
Yeah. Totally. Totally. No, I totally agree. I love that. I love the fact that doing all of this, going through all we have, um, and just being intentional about what we're doing now, and just choosing us and the people that are super close to us, the people that we care about the most, right? Choosing them over just everything that's going on, right? Just choosing to be the best possible version of ourselves, because that's what we deserve as people for ourselves, and then the people that we really care about, right, they deserve that as well. They deserve the best version of us as well. So
Right,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. So guys, with that, we always like to end the show, right, with we don't have a meme, so we're just gonna pop over to Mel's moment.
This moment. We forgot the meme.
Yeah, we forgot the
Really
meme.
out
Guys,
of
listen, I got everything else today. I was ripping and rolling with all the buttons, like it was just like riding a bike, right? But the millennial meme, we'll get back in the swing of things. Maybe we'll post one for you guys a little bit later. I'll find one, we'll post one. But like I said, it is a Mel's moment. So at the end of the show, if this is your first time watching, Mel always takes a little extra time at the end just to make sure that we have a great weekend. We walk into the next week even better than we left this week. So Mel, take it away. It's your moment.
Well, I just think this was perfect timing for both of us because we are having so much growth, personally and professionally. And I think that it's baby steps. I mean, we are here partially because you and I came together and did this podcast. Like, I do think that every little tiny thing that we are here today has been um a lot of those little things that we made decisions. We made smarter decisions. We started taking action. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. And I know that it's scary. Your mom had made a comment, I don't know if we shared it, but about cutting people out of your life. And it's very difficult. But I think that ultimately, um, there's just so much. What do we say with Will Smith's quote? Their greatest things in life are on the other side of your fear.
Yep.
And I think that when we start to take risks and take chances and put ourselves first and just, yeah, I think the world it's crazy what's like what starts to happen. It's just great results, I think. And I'm excited to be there doing that at the same time as you. But I think we've been that motivating for each other and other people around us. We have watch what Nell is doing and a lot of other people who are we've met together, and it's just sucking all of that in and kind of
Yep.
all being in that goal mindset of what we all want. I think we just we got to keep doing it and get even better, every day.
Yeah. No, I'm excited for the next 6 months, for the next, the second half of this year, the back nine, right? We're on the back nine of this year And so, I mean, the front nine was incredible growth. And I only look forward to what's to come, because we're in a completely different mind, mindset, space, right?
Yeah.
Where this could get really exciting for both of us,
And I
really
the
quick.
only I wanted to say too, I was just thinking about this, is that you have to trust yourself. My counselor, when I had first started going a year and a half ago, and he's fantastic, but one of the first things is we have to trust ourselves that we know that we're doing the right thing for ourselves. And
Yep.
it's very difficult when you talk about removing people from your life and leaving things that you become made to look bad sometimes. You're the asshole, or you're the jerk, or you're the this, because you don't want those things. And it can be lonely, and it can be difficult. But I think ultimately it's like not worrying about what people think or what they could say
Yep.
about you or what they could be talking about your back. I don't care. I know who I am. You know
Yeah.
who I am. My family, my best friends, the people I'm working with, God, like we know who we are, and
Mhm.
nobody's going to change that. And somebody's going to create a version of us that isn't true. That's not our version of who we are. But who cares?
Yeah.
You have to. That's what holds, I think, a lot of us back and people back, is because we're worried about the version that that other people have, and like I just don't care about that anymore. Nope, that's not,
Love it.
okay, all right.
I love it. I love it. It's
Unapologetically,
yeah,
unapologetic.
yeah, yeah, and that's the way you gotta be if you want it. If you really want what life has in store for you, you have to be that way. So,
Right.
but yeah. Anyways, it was a great show today. I really enjoyed this. Like you said, it was great just to get back in the swing of things, guys. We really appreciate everybody that jumped on, commented, liked this. Like I said, we do this for fun, but we do this to hopefully maybe impact one person, right? We don't know,
Mhm.
but hopefully we did today, right? And so make sure you guys check us out. Every Friday, 2 o'clock, for another episode of Millennial. I haven't told Mel this yet, but I have a special guest for us next week.
Yay, okay.
And I won't. We'll reveal it later next week.
Okay.
But make sure you tune in for that, guys. It's going to be a great conversation. I think Mel's going to really enjoy it too. So, but without further ado, guys, hopefully you have a great weekend. We will talk soon. Like I said, go have some good times this weekend. We'll talk soon.